Candy claimed I stole her jewelry, and my brother, Alex, was furious. He didn't just take me to court. He hired the best lawyer to represent her. I was sentenced to 3 years and branded a thief. Before I was sent away, his lawyer tried to reason with him. Just scare her. If she actually does time, her life will be ruined. Alex's expression was unyielding. Stealing is a serious offense. She needs to learn her lesson. As for her future, I'll take care of it. 3 years later, when I was released, he stood there with bloodshot eyes, reaching a hand out to me. You see your mistake now, don't you? Come on, let's go home. But I just stepped back, my face devoid of emotion, avoiding his touch. I had made a new brother on the inside. He said he believed me. Seeing me pull away, a flicker of shock crossed Alex's face. But he didn't retract his hand. Instead, he reached for me again, his grip swift and firm. Sonny, why are you avoiding me? Did someone give you a hard time in there? His voice was hoarse, as if his throat were filled with cotton. I tried to pull my hand free several times without success, so I just answered flatly, no. He let out a sigh of relief and squeezed my hand tighter. That's good. I read online that it's no place for a human being. I'm glad you weren't bullied. Seeing the relief on his face and his reddening eyes, I laughed bitterly to myself. Alex, weren't you the one who did everything in your power to put me here? What good is your concern now? He forced a smile, trying to sound cheerful as he pulled me toward his car. You always love the good party, right? I've planned a big welcome home celebration for you. Come on, let's go home. I glanced back at the prison one last time. I had met a new brother in there, Leo. He'd been framed for financial fraud and had another month to go. We had already made a plan. In 1 month, I would come back to pick him up, and we would start a new life together. Remembering that our father's keepsakes were still at the house, I finally got into the car with Alex. During the drive, he stroked my shaved head in a gesture that was half reminder, half warning. Sonny, you can't steal anymore. This was your lesson. I clenched my fists. Over the past 3 years, I had asked the guards to pass messages to him countless times. I told him I never stole anything from Candy, that she had framed me, but he never believed it. So this time, I didn't bother explaining again. I just nodded obediently and went along with it. I know. He smiled, satisfied, and drove me home. The moment the door opened, a party popper went off with a loud bang, sending streamers flying through the air. Candy, whom I hadn't seen in 3 years, stood there, her eyes crinkling as she smiled. Sonny, welcome home. She acted so affectionate, her eyes practically overflowing with how much she'd missed me. It was nothing like the jealous, venomous expression she wore when she framed me. I ignored her, brushing past her shoulder as I walked inside. Her smile froze on her face, and she looked to Alex for help, a hint of embarrassment in her voice. Why is she ignoring me? Is she still mad at me? Alex patted her head dotingly. Sonny just got out. She's probably not adjusted yet. It has nothing to do with you. I went straight to my bedroom and pulled open the drawer under my bed. Seeing that Dad's old photographs and his ring were still there, I finally breathed a sigh of relief. Alex stood at the doorway, calling to me softly. Sonny, come out and eat. You've gotten so thin, I can see your ribs. I closed the drawer and followed him out. During dinner, Candy asked with feigned innocence, Sonny, what was it like in there? I heard it's really rough. Is that true? It's not rough. We could read books and newspapers every day, and we went back to our cells after dinner. Oh, that sounds all right. Not as tough as I imagined. As she said this, a flicker of disappointment crossed her eyes. Alex peeled a shrimp and put it on my plate, chuckling softly. Now that you're out, let's not talk about what happened in there. Just think of it as an experience and let it go. Candy's expression darkened, and she fell silent. A moment later, as if she'd just remembered something, she ran to her room and returned with a small, exquisite box, holding it out to me. Sonny, this is a gift I got for you. Congratulations on your release. I didn't take it, continuing to eat my food. She didn't seem to mind, smiling as she opened the box herself. A string of lustrous pearls lay nestled inside, looking incredibly expensive. One glance was all it took. My pupils constricted. The blood drained from my face, and a chilling dread washed over me, as if I'd been plunged into an ice bath. Candy pushed the necklace closer, her face twisting into a grotesque, horrifying smile. What's wrong, Sonny? Isn't this your favorite necklace? You loved it so much you just had to steal it. Now I'm giving it to you. Aren't you happy? That pearl necklace was a gift from Alex to Candy. It was also the very reason I spent 3 years in prison. After my father died in combat, my mother took the survivor benefits and disappeared, leaving Alex and me to fend for ourselves. He dropped out of high school and struggled for years before finally succeeding and starting his own company. Once he made money, he adopted Candy, who had also lost her father, and brought her home to live with us. I was against it at first, but Alex persuaded me. Candy's been through what we have, Sonny. At least you have me, but she has no one. Just be generous. It's just a matter of setting another place at the table. But despite what he said, Alex treated her better than he ever treated me. It was as if he was getting a second chance at raising a sister, lavishing her with everything he couldn't give me growing up. Jewelry, designer bags, accessories, whatever Candy wanted he bought. In just 2 years, he spent millions on her. That was money he'd nearly killed himself to earn. I remembered all the nights he'd come home from business dinners, having drunk so much he was violently ill, sometimes even coughing up blood. I hated seeing him waste his hard-earned money, so I always urged him to spend less. Candy grew to resent me for it. She hid the jewelry under my pillow and then ran crying to Alex, claiming I had stolen it. Alex was enraged. He made me kneel in the rain and confess. How could the Miller family raise a daughter like you? Dad was a soldier, and I've lived my life with integrity. Why couldn't you be like us? Why did you have to take after that mother of yours who ran off with the money? Have I ever deprived you of anything? Food? Clothes? Why would you need to steal? I developed a high fever, crying and trying to explain that I didn't do it, but he wouldn't believe me. The very next day, he hired the best lawyer and took me to court. He was my own brother, yet he stood in court and testified against me, arguing passionately on Candy's behalf. In the end, I was sentenced to 3 years. I was a convicted thief. Before it happened, our relatives, friends, even his own lawyer, begged him not to go through with it. They told him I was just a girl, that 3 years in prison would destroy my entire life. But Alex was stubborn. He was willing to alienate everyone to make sure I went to prison. Sonny's life won't be ruined. Everything I've earned for her. Even if her life is ruined, I can provide for her forever. But she stole something, and for that, she must be taught a lesson. For 3 years, he visited me every month, asking if I was ready to admit my mistake. I never agreed to see him. I would just ask the guard to pass along the same message. I didn't steal anything. And every time, after he left, a guard would tell me with a sigh, "Your brother doesn't believe you." Disappointment after disappointment slowly curdled into despair. I felt like I had been abandoned by the entire world. I used to have a brother who loved me, but now I didn't even have him. Seeing those pearls again, I finally snapped and swiped the box off the table. The string broke on impact, and the pearls went scattering across the floor with a series of sharp clicks. Candy froze, stunned, while Alex's face instantly darkened. Candy was kind enough to give you a gift. She's already forgiven you, so what is this? I sat there, trembling, my face as white as a sheet. He grabbed my arm and pulled me to my feet. You think you can throw a tantrum just because you're out? Pick up those pearls right now and apologize to Candy. How could I possibly apologize? I shoved Alex hard, threw open the door, and ran out into the night. The wind was bitingly cold, but the grief and injustice twisting in my heart felt even colder. I never wanted to come back to this house. If it weren't for our father's things, I never would have come. I couldn't stand being framed again, couldn't stand another moment of this injustice. Alex caught up to me, quickly grabbing my wrist. His brow was furrowed in a tight line as he scolded me. Where do you think you're going? Did 3 years in prison not teach you to control your temper? I finally broke, shaking his hand off as my eyes burned with tears. Giving me that necklace, was that a kind gesture or a malicious one? Alex, can you really not tell the difference? I'm your sister. You're the one who sent me to prison. What more do you want from me? I did it for your own good, he shot back, his voice turning cold. If you're going to steal, you have to accept the consequences. How else will you ever learn? Was I supposed to just stand by and watch you make mistakes? Let you go down the wrong path? His words felt like a hammer blow to my chest, leaving a gaping hole. When had I ever stolen anything in my entire life? What possible reason would I have to steal a necklace from Candy? Why couldn't he just think it through? Why wouldn't he believe me? Tears of frustration streamed down my face as the despair of the last 3 years washed over me. I gave up trying to explain. Alex looked at my shorn hair and his voice softened, as if conceding. Sonny, everything I do with you in mind. You may have spent 3 years in prison, but I've already paved the way for your future. My company will be yours one day. This was just a small punishment, nothing that will cause any real harm. Come home with me, and stop running off like this. He took my hand and started leading me back to the house. I followed numbly, not saying another word. When we walked back in, a look of surprise flashed in Candy's eyes. She clearly hadn't expected Alex to bring me back after all that. I just felt utterly exhausted. I went into my room and didn't come out. Late that night, Candy snuck into my room. My eyes snapped open, but she thought I was still asleep. She fumbled for a moment, then lifted my pillow and slid something underneath it. I didn't move or say a word. I didn't reach for what she'd hidden. She was so eager to play the same trick again the very day I returned. I wanted to see if, this time, Alex would choose to believe me. The next morning, just as I expected, she was crying to Alex, claiming I had stolen her necklace again. Sonny, if you wanted it, you just had to say so. I tried to give it to you yesterday, but you're the one who refused. Do you just enjoy the act of stealing? Alex's face was a dark cloud as he stared at me, his jaw tight. You just can't help yourself, can you? My heart plummeted into a bottomless pit. His words were a final, sharp blade, severing whatever was left of our family bond. I gave a self-deprecating smirk. Nope, guess I can't. The sharp crack of his hand against my cheek echoed in the room. The rage and disappointment in his eyes were palpable. How could I have a sister like you? I was silent for a moment, then I covered my stinging cheek and let out a cold laugh. I don't know. How could I have a brother like you? You. He pointed a trembling finger at me, too furious to speak. Before he could strike me again, I dropped to my knees and touched my forehead to the floor. Thank you for dropping out of school to take care of me. From now on, I have no brother. With that, I stood up, retrieved our father's things from under the bed, and turned to leave. His face was grim as he snatched the photos and the ring from my hands. These were Dad's. You have no right to them. Fine, then. I nodded, accepting it, and turned to go. Alex's voice, tight with anger, followed me. You're an ex-con. What are you going to do without me? Starve. I didn't stop walking. Don't you worry about me. After I left the house, I sat on a bench in the neighborhood all day. This time, Alex didn't come after me. He must have been completely disgusted and disappointed, finally ready to wash his hands of me. I had no money, so I started looking for a job that provided room and board. But as soon as they heard I had a prison record, no one would hire me. Left with no other options, I went to a construction site. The foreman looked me up and down, his brow furrowing. A woman? This is hard labor. You sure you can handle it? I gave him a hopeful smile. Just give me a chance, sir. I might be skinny, but I'm stronger than I look. He was still hesitant, but I didn't wait for permission and just started working, moving quickly and efficiently. He finally nodded, agreeing to let me stay. Room and board included, $100 a day. But it's a short-term project. We'll be done in a month. I nodded happily. That was enough. In a month, Leo would be out, and I'd have somewhere to go. I ended up working on that site for more than 20 days. When Alex found me again, he was so shocked he almost didn't recognize me. My hair had grown out into an untamed fuzz, and I was covered in so much grime that dust clouds puffed up with every step I took. He stood watching me from a distance, his eyes slowly turning red. After a long moment, he ran over and grabbed my wrist. What are you doing here? Sonny, do you have any idea how long I've been looking for you? Let's go. Come home with me. You can't be doing this kind of work. I shook his hand off, picked up another stack of bricks, and pretended I didn't know him. His lips tightened into a thin line. He stopped trying to persuade me and went to talk to the foreman instead. A minute later, the foreman walked over, his face grim. Sonny, why didn't you tell us you did time for theft? We can't have people like that on this site. You're fired, and we're not paying you for the days you worked. Get out of here now. I was stunned and immediately begged the foreman for another chance. I was framed. I never stole anything, and I never would. Please let me stay. Wasn't that your brother? You're saying he would lie about you. The foreman cut me off with a sneer. "We don't hire dishonest people. Now get lost." He gave me an impatient shove. I stumbled backward, losing my balance, and Alex caught me. A smug smile played on his lips as he pressed a phone into my hand. "See? You can't survive out here. The only place for you is by my side. Sonny, we're family. The path I've laid out for you is the only one that's best for you." He reached out and touched my messy hair, getting dust on his hand without a hint of disgust. He actually seemed happy as he took my hand. "Come on, let's go home. And don't you ever make me search for you like this again." I didn't move. He turned back, confused, and met my icy stare. "Alex, what do I have to do to make you leave me alone?" He didn't seem to think he'd done anything wrong. His smile vanished, replaced by irritation. "What do you mean? Leave you alone? Haven't I been good to you? I spent more than 20 days looking for you. I neglected my company. Do you know how much money that cost me?" He grabbed my arm and dragged me without another word. "You're coming home with me." He shoved me into his car and took me back to that house again. On the way, he took a call, and after dropping me off, he rushed to his office, telling Candy not to let me out of her sight. The moment he was gone, Candy's expression changed. "You bitch. I can't believe he actually brought you back. After everything, he still cares about you." I fought the urge to punch her and instead asked the question that had been burning inside me for 3 years. "Why did you frame me? I was always decent to you, wasn't I?" She laughed coldly, her eyes filled with venom. "Because you told Alex to stop spending so much money on me. He already made it clear that the company would be yours someday, not mine. You have this amazing brother to secure your future, yet you couldn't stand him spending a little on me. Why should you have everything?" I clenched my fists. "Do you have any idea how he earned that money? He never went to college. Everyone at his company looked down on him, so he had to work twice as hard just to get ahead. Those old sharks would force him to drink at dinners. He'd have to go to the bathroom, make himself throw up, and then come back and drink more. He coughed up blood more than once. And you'd ask for $1 million without blinking. He's my brother, so of course I worry about him. What was so wrong with me asking him to spend a little less on you? So what? It's not like any of that money was ever going to be mine." Candy admired her new manicure, completely unconcerned. "If he drinks himself to death, the company still won't be mine. The only way I might get anything is if you're out of the picture." I stared at her, horrified, a chill running through my veins. All this time, I thought she framed me because she wanted Alex all to herself. I never realized it was only ever about the money. "You're a real piece of work," I said through gritted teeth, and headed for my room. She sneered behind me. "I framed you once, and I can do it again. And again. Just you wait, Sonny. I'll get you thrown out of here for good." I stopped, turned to give her one last, long look, and then stopped the recording on my phone. "You won't have to. I'm leaving on my own." With that, I sent the audio file to Alex. "You learn from your mistakes." I wasn't going to let Candy frame me endlessly. I had turned on my phone's voice, recorded the moment we got in the car. Candy had no idea. She thought I was just making empty threats and went back to her room with a contemptuous smirk. My phone started buzzing nonstop. It was a flood of frantic, panicked iMessages from Alex. I glanced at the screen once and then ignored it. I pulled our father's things from under the bed, stuffed them in my pocket, and walked out of that house for the last time. Leo was getting out soon. I was going to be there for him. During my time in prison, Alex's lack of faith in me made me start to doubt myself. I kept wondering what I had done so wrong that my own brother would turn against me. Over time, I fell into a deep depression. But then I met Leo. During the day, the men and women were together for reading hours, only separating at night. We both liked the business and entertainment sections, so we often ended up sharing the same newspaper. Alex was a fairly prominent figure in Denver, so I'd often see him in the paper. One day, he was taking Candy to a charity gala. The next, he was buying her some extravagant gift. I could never stop the tears. The injustice felt like a knife twisting in my heart. After this happened a few times, Leo finally asked, "Why are you always crying when you see that guy? Who is he to you?" I told him the whole story. When I finished, he actually laughed. My story is even worse. Right after I got married, a subordinate I personally trained framed me, claiming I embezzled $2 million from the company. I got 5 years. The moment I was sentenced, he took over my position. Last month, my wife came to visit. She told me she was pregnant and couldn't wait for me, so she was getting remarried. I was stunned, but his smile only widened. And guess who she's marrying? That same subordinate. He paused for effect before continuing. And guess how much time I had left on my sentence then? 6 months. Seeing him smile through that kind of pain made my own heart ache. He patted my shoulder. At least your brother thought he was doing it to help you. It was a misunderstanding. Now, look at my situation. I managed a weak smile. Suddenly, my own problems didn't seem quite so overwhelming. After that, we became close. Every time Alex visited, it would ruin my mood for days, sometimes even making me physically ill. Leo was the one who comforted me, telling me he was a good judge of character and could tell just by looking at me that I wasn't a thief. Trust is such a rare thing. My own brother couldn't give it to me, but Leo did. Before I was released, we made a pact. I would come back for him in a month, and I would be his little sister. He even joked, echoing Alex's old words, "It's just a matter of setting another place at the table. I can take care of you." Thinking of Leo brought me a sense of peace. The phone Alex had given me had $2,000 on it, so I rented a room and motel near the prison for a few days. During that time, Alex called and texted me like a man possessed. He said he'd heard the recording and couldn't believe Candy had framed me. He begged me to answer the phone so we could talk. He asked where I was, pleaded for me to come home, and swore he had already punished Candy and would make her apologize. He kept saying he was wrong and begged me not to ignore him. I ignored all of it. Eventually, it got so annoying that I just blocked his number. Yes, he had sacrificed for me, dropping out of school to raise me. But I had been a good sister to him, too. During the pandemic a few years back, he got sick with a dangerously high fever. Candy wore a mask and stayed far away, terrified of catching it. I was the one who ran out in the middle of the night to find medicine, the one who stayed up for days on end taking care of him until he recovered. I knew his life was hard. So, whenever he had to go to a business dinner, I always made sure there was a thermos of hangover soup waiting in his room. When he was struggling with the business, I was the one who held his hand and told him I believed in him. And what did I get for all of it? 3 years in prison, a ruined reputation, and a future that was nearly destroyed. I really didn't want a brother like that anymore. The month passed quickly. On the day of Leo's release, I went to a nearby market and bought a fresh fish for dinner. The weather was beautiful, clear and calm. As he walked out of the prison gates, the first thing he saw was me, smiling. I held up the grocery bag. "Leo," I said softly, "let's go home." Leo was an incredibly capable man. He only rested for 2 days after his release before he started planning his comeback. He spent the next 6 months networking, calling in favors, and gathering evidence. He actually managed to clear his name, sending the man who framed him to prison and winning a $500,000 settlement from his old company. He used that money to start a small firm of his own and gave me a job. When his ex-wife came crawling back, he was able to smile coolly and tell her, "We're divorced. It's over. We should both move on." She had a complete meltdown and lunged at me. "It's because of this bitch, isn't it? One of your jailbird friends. What kind of decent person comes out of prison? Leo, you'll really stoop to any level." Leo pulled her off me, his normally easygoing face dark with anger. "Don't you dare project your own filth onto others. She's my sister." His ex-wife continued to scream and cry until Leo finally called the police to have her removed. He didn't sleep at all that night. The next day, I had a new name, Sonny Hayes. He said it was so people would know we were brother and sister and wouldn't get the wrong idea. A girl's reputation was important, he said, and he didn't want mine to be unfairly tarnished. I didn't object. The day I picked up my new ID, I walked out of the building and ran right into Alex. I hadn't seen him in 6 months. He had lost weight and looked exhausted. He was holding a stack of missing person flyers, and when he saw me, he froze, completely stunned. Leo followed my gaze. His eyes lingered for a moment on Alex's face, which shared a strong resemblance to mine. Then he looked down at me. "Your brother?" Before I could answer, Alex was running toward us. He grabbed my hand, his eyes red with emotion. "Sonny, I found you. I finally found you. Where have you been?" "I've been worried sick." I pulled my hand away, my expression cold. "I'm not dead. Why were you looking for me?" He looked at my hair, which had now grown past my ears, and his voice choked with emotion. "Sonny, please don't say things like that. Come home. I know I was wrong. I never should have doubted you." Leo raised an eyebrow, his tone laced with sarcasm. Go home with you? So she can be tormented by your precious candy again? Or were you planning on sending her back to prison for another round? Alex finally seemed to notice the man standing beside me. He frowned, his eyes narrowed with suspicion. Who are you? Sonny's boyfriend? I've never seen you before. He pulled me behind him, his tone shifting to the same stern lecture he'd always used. Sonny, what have I always told you? Stay away from strange men. Do you know anything about this guy? What if he's dangerous? I sighed, looked down, and pulled out my new ID. Sorry, my name is Sonny Hayes now, and he's my brother. Alex took the ID, and his expression froze. You changed your name? You found a new brother. He looked from the ID to me and back again, his face a mask of disbelief. You're lying. You're just doing this to make me angry, right? I snatched the ID back and put it carefully in my pocket. What's the matter? I sneered. You're allowed to have a new sister, but I'm not allowed to have a new brother. His brow furrowed. So that's it. You're just doing this because you're still angry with me. I've been calling you for 6 months, sending you apologies, and you just ignore them. Are you really that stubborn? So you spent 3 years in prison. What did you really lose? I had your entire future planned out for you. Enough. I cut him off, my voice sharp. I had worked so hard to bury the memories of those 3 years, to push them down so I wouldn't have to think about them. I didn't want to talk about it, and I certainly didn't want to hear him talk about it. I'm not your sister anymore. Don't come looking for me. I'll be fine, and I don't want the future you planned for me. I took Leo's arm to leave, but Alex grabbed my wrist, his grip so tight it made me wince. Is this your way of getting revenge? Have you even thought about our father? Changing your name for some man you just met? How could you do that to his memory? My expression finally hardened completely. I have nothing to be ashamed of when it comes to you or to Dad. You should ask yourself the same question. Before he died, Dad asked you to take care of me. And how did you do that? You got yourself a new sister and then sent your real one to prison for her. Between the two of us, Alex, who's the one who really let him down? The color drained from Alex's face. I adopted Candy because she was an orphan, just like we were. I sent you to prison because she tricked me. Sonny, I'm your brother. Would I ever intentionally hurt you? I just wanted to teach you a lesson, so I should thank you for that. A chill spread through my chest. Should I give you an award for it? He saw the pure disgust in my eyes, and his pupils constricted. For once, he had no rebuttal. He looked over at Leo, his expression pained. Who is he? How did you two even meet? I didn't want to tell him, but I knew he wouldn't stop asking. Leo is my brother now, I said flatly. We met in prison. What? Prison? Alex's voice shot up, and his face darkened. Prison is full of degenerates. How could you call someone like that your brother? Have you two been living together all this time? I looked at him, a smirk playing on my lips. I was in prison too. Does that make me a degenerate? He looked flustered for a second. That's not what I meant. Just stop. I don't want to hear it. I turned and walked away, having no desire to speak to him ever again. Alex didn't follow me, but he started calling me from different numbers. I answered once, but after that, I just ignored any calls from numbers I didn't recognize. A month later, he somehow got Leo's number. He insisted that we meet, saying he had something important to tell me. I didn't want to go, but Leo convinced me. If you don't, he'll just keep finding other ways to contact you. It's better to just meet him and get it over with. So I agreed to meet Alex at a coffee shop. While I got there, I saw that Candy was with him. Noticing my expression, Alex quickly explained, Sonny, I brought her here to apologize. She's no longer part of the Miller family. After she apologizes, she's moving out. Candy stood up, all her previous arrogance gone. Sonny, I'm so sorry. I shouldn't have framed you for stealing. The sound of her calling me Sonny made me want to vomit. Her face paled, but she forced herself to continue. I shouldn't have framed you. You and Alex were so good to me. It was all my fault. How could a simple sorry make up for 3 years of my life? Without a word, I picked up my cup of coffee and threw it in her face. The hot coffee splashed across her face, ruining her makeup and soaking her blouse. She was stunned for a moment. Then she let out a piercing shriek. You bitch. I apologized. What more do you want? How dare you? I'm going to kill you. She lunged at me, and I braced myself to fight back. But before I could move, Alex slapped her hard across the face. She stumbled and fell, clutching her cheek in disbelief. You hit me. Since the day he brought her home, he had treated her like a princess. He never laid a hand on her. He rarely even raised his voice. I suspected that even after hearing the recording, he hadn't really lost his temper with her. Candy's eyes filled with tears of disbelief. Alex's face was thunderous, his voice like ice. Yes, I hit you. Sunny is my sister. You dare lay a hand on her and see what happens. The only reason I've put up with you this long was so I could find Sunny and make you apologize to her face. Did you really think I was just going to let it go? I saved that recording. It's a full confession. I'm giving it to my lawyer. You can wait for your turn in prison. A look of pure terror flashed in Candy's eyes, and she dropped to her knees, trembling. Alex, I was wrong. Please forgive me. I can't go to prison. It'll ruin my life. I'll apologize to Sunny. I'll get on my knees. I'll leave Denver and never come back. Just please, don't do this. And then she actually started bowing her head to the floor, right there in the middle of the coffee shop. A crowd started to gather, staring, some even pulling out their phones to record. She lost every shred of her dignity, sobbing and begging for forgiveness. I just sneered. I had no intention of forgiving her. I looked at Alex. Let me know when you're ready to press charges. My brother knows a couple of good lawyers. His face lit up, and he grabbed my hand, thinking this meant I was ready to forgive him, too. Okay, Sonny. Then you'll come home, right? I promise I will never, ever doubt you again. I pulled my hand from his grasp, my eyes filling with disgust. How many times do I have to say it? You're not my brother. I'm never going back. From now on, Alex, we are nothing to each other. After that day, I changed my phone number, and so did Leo. I blocked Alex on every platform I could think of, cutting off all contact. My life started to fall into place. I began working at Leo's new company. He started dating a wonderful, kind woman, and the three of us would often have dinner together. Eventually, I rented my own apartment and moved out of Leo's place. He and his girlfriend tried to talk me out of it, saying they were worried about me living alone. But I didn't want to be a third wheel in their life. I wasn't his real sister, after all, and it felt like the right thing to do. Leo seemed to understand and finally stopped trying to persuade me. He just ruffled my hair and smiled. Renting forever isn't a long-term plan. I'll buy you a condo in my complex tomorrow. That way we'll be close, and I won't have to worry. I didn't argue. I just grinned and said, deal. You've been so busy with your love life. I'm the one running the company anyway. I've earned a bonus. He and his girlfriend exchanged a smile, both of them blushing. A few months later, they got engaged. As the sister of the groom, I had a seat of honor at the party. Leo's parents were warm and kind, calling me Sonny and insisting I eat more. It felt surreal. I never imagined I could be this happy. On the anniversary of my father's death a year later, I prepared some flowers and waited until after dark to visit the cemetery. To my surprise, Alex was still there. Seeing his lonely figure, I hesitated for a moment before walking to the gravestone and kneeling, pretending I hadn't seen him. As I turned to leave, he grabbed my arm. His voice was raw. Can't you please give me another chance? For Dad's sake. Sonny, we're brother and sister. We grew up together. Everything I did it for you. It had been a long time. Seeing Alex now, I felt almost nothing. Only the thought of those 3 lost years still brought a faint, sharp sting of pain. The black and white photo on the headstone showed my father smiling. It was the same smile he always had when he looked at Alex and me as kids. He was a military man, and he raised us like one, teaching us to do squats and sit-ups. We had to do 200 of each every night before bed. Sometimes I'd get too tired and start to cry, and Alex would always step in, puffing out his chest. I can do it, Dad. I'll do Sonny's for her. He'd be dripping with sweat, having to do my reps after his own, but our dad would look on, pleased. That's right. That's what a big brother does. Alex, you remember this. Sonny is your sister, and you have to protect her for your entire life. Understand? And Alex would always nod, wiping the sweat from his brow. Don't worry, Dad. I'll always take care of her. But then, I let the thought go. I sighed inwardly, a bitter smile touching my lips. Alex, I didn't take the path you laid out for me, but I'm doing just fine. I don't blame you anymore, but I can't forgive you, either. From now on, let's just be strangers. The sound of a sharp slap echoed in the quiet cemetery. He had struck his own face. Then he collapsed to his knees, burying his face in his hands, his body racked with sobs. "You're my sister. How could I have lost you? Sonny, I'm not a man. I'm a monster." I looked down at him one last time, then turned and walked away without a word. We didn't see each other for a long time after that. I heard he had some kind of breakdown, that he would wander the streets with a photo of me, asking strangers if they'd seen his sister. After he mistakenly accosted several young women, the police took him to a psychiatric hospital. The year I turned 30, I got married. With a husband and a child of my own, I found a sense of peace and contentment. I visited the hospital where Alex was staying once. He was sitting under a tree, clutching an old, yellowed photograph, muttering the same words over and over. "Sonny, I was wrong. Let me go to prison instead. Please, will you forgive me?" A doctor told me it was the only thing he'd said since he'd been admitted. I sighed and took our father's old ring and photo from my purse, handing them to the doctor. "Please give these to him when you have a chance. He should recognize them." The doctor asked gently, "You must be Sonny Miller. Don't you want to see him?" My expression was serene. "My last name is Hayes." The doctor didn't press the issue. He walked over to Alex, gave him the items, and said something to him. Alex's body jolted, and his head snapped up, looking directly toward me. In that same instant, I turned away. We were merely strangers who had once walked the same road. In this life, we would not meet again. My brother and I were over forever.